Welcome to TED and EUD News. My name is Vanessa Pizzuto. With me is Samuel Hill. And today we have a guest, Maksym. It's a pleasure to have you with us. Remind me how to pronounce your last name.
Krupskyi.
Krupskyi. Before we talk about Ukraine and before we talk about the war, tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me here. Nice to be here. I am director of HopeMedia Group Ukraine, and I am responsible for public affairs and religious freedom department in Union. So it's my job, my ministry for last 3.5 years.
Fantastic, fantastic.
Yeah, thank you, Maksym, for being here. How has the war impacted you and your family, and what about the church as a whole?
Yeah, I will gladly tell about our church. I'm proud about our church, about church members, and not only in Ukraine, but outside Ukraine too, because a lot of people show their solidarity with us in prayers. And we appreciate this so much, especially prayer support, financial support, and receiving our refugees and accepting there in your homes. So it's a great privilege to feel such support from society, from church. I will tell a little more about my personal, but first of all, I want to say that church is suffering with society. Suffering a lot. I just can share some numbers that we already have 23 church buildings damaged and 4 completely destroyed. We have 16 people killed and 15 people injured from church members, and 21 church members missing. We don't know where they. And we already 8,073 church members left Ukraine. So it's a really sad numbers. But from another way, what is interesting that 1,084 people was baptized in 2022 in Ukraine. So from one side, church is suffering. We really sad because a lot of young families, children, women left Ukraine. But from another side, we understand that it's a time when we can be real hope for society, real help, real hands. So almost every church in Ukraine became like a center of influence, a shelter for refugees, providing food. Our pastors, through our church, through our pastors, we distribute more than 2 million loaves of bread. It's a huge numbers. It's every day thousands of these loaves of bread for people. But from one side, we are, as I said, suffering. We are exhausted, tired. From another side, we are blessed because it's a time when we can minister to people in the highest capacity, highest opportunity, with all support of ADRA, with all support of churches in Europe, in the United States, and many countries. When war started, in a few months, I received a message from Falkland Islands that we are praying for you, we are with you there. So it was so supportive that you understand where Ukraine, where is Falkland Islands, and people praying there for Ukraine. So it's a supportive.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder also, it is amazing to see the work of the church as a family. I also wonder the work you do sharing with HopeMedia. How did you carry on? Did you carry on? How did you manage that?
It's not only my decision that we have to continue our work, but it's a decision of our team. Almost all team was evacuated. In first week, it's a hard evacuation with many hours, 20 hours plus in the roads. But all teams little settled and say, okay, we cannot just sit and wait for something. Let's produce something. And first few months of war, it was like more about evacuation, sharing food, essentials, so on. But in little later, became understanding that if people doesn't have hope, they don't need even food. Their hands just, they became depressed, they became tired. And after these few months, we became more, and we were really included in some social project together, Hope Channel International with ADRA, so on. But from summer, we understand that if people lost their hopes, they will lost everything. They don't need your parcels with food. They don't need this bread, loans of bread, because they just, okay, I'm done. My life is finished. So we, it's one of the reasons why we not stop broadcasting even for minutes during the whole war, and why we come back to Kiev and open studios there from autumn to start again our programs about prayer, about our morning program, everyday morning program. It's live broadcasting, very challenging, without electricity in many areas, bombing, and this rocket alarm system working during our broadcasting. So it's a challenging for team, but they feel that they are needed now. And it's not only, you know, this hope, like, you have to hope for something better. It's a real hope. We can share Jesus, we can share prophecies, we can share with people that it's not only good wishes for you, that I wish peace for you, I wish war stopped, I wish you survive. It's a real hope in Jesus Christ. We feel it personally as a team, and we can share it with society.
Mm. How can we still believe in God when we are facing war and conflict and suffering?
You know that this month is already 1 year of war. As pastor, I have to say that some people start to believe in God, in Bible, but some people lost their faith. They completely lost any hopes and faith. So people divided when they see these bad circumstances and crises and wars. So for me personally and for my team, and I share these thoughts many times, that it's not like good wishes for people. You have to find real answers in Bible. They are there. You can find this answer. You have to read this Bible as a first time. I personally, with many reasons, this year was the hardest in my life. Heart evacuation. I remember as I say goodbye to my family in Bucharest when they depart to Germany. And it's like you have to say some words for your family, and you don't know when you see them again. But you can find these promises in Bible, and they like became alive for you. You read these psalms with new power. So when many months of war were back, I preach in many churches, and I preach on TV, and I said that you need to read Bible as it there, all hopes, Jesus promises, good future for you. So we reinvited Bible for us, reinvited these promises, I can say this way. And it's a good wishes for church members to open Bible in a new way and to share hope we have. So for our team, for me personally, for my family, during all this tragedy, Bible, it was real support. Second support, it's believers near you, people who not just say, we cannot. They doing something, they have good mood, they want to create something, and when you see these people, you understand that God blesses people. It's inspiring you to be part of the team. So Ukrainian church now, it's a big team of volunteers, and they create a lot of new projects, support people. It's a good part of this story. Yeah.
It is beautiful to see that through this tragedy and the horror of war, you actually found a way to connect deeper with God and with His Word and with community. That really is a reason to have hope. And there'll be people watching today thinking, I want to be a person who brings hope to, who helps Ukrainians. So for those who are watching us today and really want to help, what would you say?
After 1 year, I have to say a huge thanks, because we receive a lot of helps, a lot of projects, a lot of supply, a lot of essentials. And still needed, yes. But first of all, we wait for God to intervene in the situation. We ask all people of faith to pray about the situation. If miracles won't happen, it can be a long story with many sad consequences for Ukrainian, for other nations, for refugees, for family divided, and so on. So pray for us. Second, during this year, we were not prepared well, we have to say. But during this year, we already have all information inside of Ukrainian Union, ADRA, HopeMedia group, and all our site, Facebook, and so on. You can find information how to help. And I just understand that in a war, when a lot of people suffering, especially this war, even small steps open the big doors. So some people, they don't have they have something small to share, but they want to help. And when they start, it opens like explosions. People join, made teams, and made a huge project. So if somebody wants to help, even small help, it can open a big door of blessing. We feel this as HopeMedia Group because we have many problems, challenges, financial, but we opened new studio this year. If somebody asked me 2 years or 3 years ago, Max, do you plan to open new studio in Ukraine? I said, no, we don't have such a plan. It's like a dream to have new studio. If somebody asked me first months of war, do you plan to open new studio in 2022 in Ukraine? I say, wow, what is with your understanding of situation? But summer we dedicate new studio in Chernovtsi. So God is God of impossible things. So we still understand that a lot has to be done for the suffering people. Still a lot of refugees, still active fighting, still a lot of these rockets flying. But if somebody decide to make some small things, creating new content, one prayer, sharing the small amount of essentials, so on, God can open the bigger door.
And one last question: what do you think the future holds? And one last message for the audience who is watching you now.
I especially want to say a few words for believers that God has His mission in this war, in this world, and first months of war, it was like an inner feeling that God's mission stopped in Ukraine. So you have to just evacuate people and give food and essentials. But now when we see numbers and understand that more than 1,000 people joined the church, I have assurance that God's mission will continue in any circumstances. So maybe you now in some better places in the country with their own challenges, financial or pandemic or something else. It can be more and more political instability and so on. I have assurance that God's mission will continue in any circumstances, better or worse, with financial or without, war or peace. God will finish His mission on this earth. It's a feeling from our pastors. It's some inspiration from Ukraine, and I believe in 2023 we can add some people to the God Church and for salvation.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time, for the work you do, for the prayers and the dedication. And just in the name of the Global Church, our prayers are with you and our commitment to support. And to everyone who's watching today, please continue to pray for Ukraine. Thank you so much.